The President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers match up with a veteran Washington Capitals team in round one of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Almost everybody is picking Florida, but could they be ripe for an upset? We'll take a look and preview the series right now. Hey everybody, so today we're going to be taking a look at the top-seeded Florida Panthers matchup against a very veteran team, but a wild card team in the Washington Capitals in the first round. Florida, the heavy favorites in this series. But Washington's got a veteran team with plenty of guys still from their 2018 Stanley Cup winning roster still there for the Capitals. Could this lead to one of the biggest surprises in the playoffs? Or is Florida going to handle the job, get it done, and take care of business in round number one? Finally winning their first playoff series since 1996. Let's take a look at it here. Panthers versus Caps. This should be a very high-scoring series at the very least, and a lot of fun to watch. On the Florida side of things, we have the President's Trophy winners. 58 wins this season for Florida, 18 losses, 6 OT losses, 122 points, most in the NHL. Obviously, they won the Atlantic Division, and in their regular season matchups, they beat Washington 2 out of 3 times, going 2-1-0. I mentioned this being a high-scoring series. The Florida Panthers, the highest-scoring team in the NHL this year, scoring 4.11 goals for per game. And fun fact, they are the first NHL team to finish a season scoring more than 4 goals a game since the 1995-96 Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's been literally over 20 years since a team has scored as much as the Florida Panthers, and their offense was absolutely electric all season long. They weren't bad defensively, tied for 12th in the NHL with 2.95 goals against per game. Ironically, they're tied for 12th with the Washington Capitals, the team that they're playing in this first round series. But it wasn't a bad year defensively for Florida, but not quite top 10. Offense, certainly their strong suit in the area of the game where Florida was dominant this season. To go along with their top offense, they have a very good power play, as expected. You don't score over 4 goals a game if you don't have a good power play. They had the 5th best power play in the NHL this year, operating at 24.4%. Penalty kill, not quite as good, only 79.5% on the PK, which is 18th in the NHL. So a little bit further down in the pack there for Florida's penalty kill, but again, this is a team that won this season by scoring goals, and scoring a lot of them. The other big thing with Florida this year was their ability to come back after getting down in games. They had no problem coming from behind and finding ways to win, even sometimes coming from behind 3-4 goals down and still being able to win those games. So the offense here is just sick. The goal-scoring ability is sick. And somebody, if they're going to beat Florida in the playoffs, is going to have to find a way to keep that offense in check. If nobody can do that, Florida is just going to score their way through the playoffs unless somebody is able to stop them and start getting those scoring numbers down. On the Washington side of things, they went 44, 26, and 12 on the year, and even 100 points on the season. And normally 100 points is a pretty darn good year and gets you a solid playoff spot. But Washington was the second wild card this year in the East. Now, there was a big gap between the last wild card spot and the first team out of the playoffs, but it's just crazy that a 100-point team is literally the last seed to make the playoffs this year in the East. Nonetheless, though, that's where Washington finished. And in the regular season, they went 1-1-1 against the Florida Panthers, which honestly is not that bad, especially against a juggernaut team like Florida. And Washington also scores quite a few goals. And as you would expect a team with Alexander Ovechkin, they score over 3 goals a game, 3.29 goals for per game this year, which was 10th best in the NHL. As I mentioned, defensively, they give up the same number of goals as Florida, 2.95 goals against per game, which is tied with the Panthers for 12th in the league. Special teams, the power play, not that good for Washington this year. And that's a little bit of a surprise for a team with Backstrom and Kuznetsov and obviously Ovechkin shooting, Oshie, Carlson is the quarterback. You would expect the Capitals to have a lethal power play with the star power that they can put on the ice. But they only operated at 18.8% on the power play this year, which was 23rd in the NHL, bottom third of the league there. That's definitely an area that they're going to want to be better at come playoff time. And will certainly need to be better at if they're going to beat the Panthers. Penalty kill was pretty solid, just outside the top 10, 12th in the league at 80.4% on the PK. So they did a fairly decent job of killing off penalties. Everybody is picking the Panthers here, and obviously they're the President's Trophy winner. They have the most lethal offense we've seen in the NHL in over 20 years, for good reason. And also, Sergei Bobrovsky has been a lot better this year. He hasn't necessarily been Vezina level, but he's certainly been a lot better this year for Florida than the past 2 seasons. So the fact that their goaltending has shown signs of improvement as well is another positive for the Florida Panthers. On the Washington Capitals side, man, they're just going to need to play their best hockey. This is not an easy matchup for them, but they are a veteran team. They've got a lot of experience in their lineup, a lot of playoff experience in their lineup, and I certainly don't think they're going to go down without a fight, but this is a very difficult matchup for Washington. There's no way around it. Having to play the top team in the league from the regular season in round number 1 is definitely not ideal. We have good news on the injury front for both of these teams. Aaron Ekblad, who missed about the last 20-ish games of the season or so for Florida, is recovering well. Looks like he could possibly play Game 1, but even if he doesn't play Game 1, certainly looks like he is going to be back at some point in this series for the Florida Panthers. So a huge piece of their defense core coming back just in the nick of time for Florida to just make this team even better and help out their D and make them a little bit better defensively. And on the Washington side of things, Alexander Ovechkin is likely going to be good to go for game number 1. He got hurt in one of the last few games of the season. Very scary looking crash into the end boards. He missed the last few games for the Capitals, but it looks like he is going to be back for game number 1. So that's obviously great news for the Caps, because if they didn't have Ovechkin, I would give them virtually no chance in this series. But Ovechkin being back is at least a little bit of a boost for Washington and will certainly help them offensively try and keep up with the Florida Panthers. At the end of the day, to me, looking at this series, I just don't think the Washington Capitals are going to be able to limit Florida's offense enough, and they're just going to get flat out outscored in this series. And I certainly don't trust Washington's goaltending. Ilya Samsonov and Vitek Vanacek, neither one of them are guys that in my opinion, you can trust to be a true number 1, lead you through a playoff series, win a playoff series, steal a series if need be. They're just not that level of goaltenders. And I think Florida, having just the ridiculous offense that they do, is probably going to be able to light up the Capitals' goaltending and score a lot of goals in this series. Washington is certainly capable of scoring goals themselves, but I don't think they can at Florida's pace. And if this turns into a shootout type of series, which I think it's going to, and there's going to be a lot of high-scoring games, Florida is just flat out going to outscore the Capitals more likely than not. And that's the way that I see this series going. I don't necessarily love Bobrovsky and his playoff history either for Florida. But again, if this turns into a back-and-forth, shot-for-shot, goal-for-goal type series, the Florida Panthers are probably going to be the ones to win that. So I certainly expect the Panthers to get it done in round number 1. It's not even, that the Capitals are a bad team. It's just that Florida's firepower is unbelievable. And I think that's going to show through. And the Capitals do not have the goaltending or the overall team defense to stop that. So they're going to get outscored, I believe, in this series. So we'll have to see how it goes. I do think it's going to be fun hockey to watch. Like, even if it's a Florida dominated series, I think it's going to be really fun hockey to watch, because I think there's going to be like 7, 8, 9 goals at least in every game. And you might get 1 or 2 crazy ones that gets up there into maybe like the 8-6 type game or something like that. You could see some baseball scores in this series potentially, not really hockey scores. I think there's going to be a lot of pucks in the back of the net, so it should be fun to watch. There's certainly a ton of offense, and if you like goal scoring, this series is definitely going to be one for you, along, I think, with the Minnesota-St. Louis series out west. But at the end of the day, I am definitely leaning Panthers in that ridiculous scoring ability that they have to get the job done. So that is my preview of the Florida-Washington first-round matchup. Thank you guys so much for watching. And with that, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our merchandise store, memberships, and donation links down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.